Good day, good day, good day, good day. What a wonderful day it is. It is Memorial's Day, holiday weekend. And I'm not sure if you've heard about this story, but if you haven't, I'm going to give you story time for today's holiday. Okay? And this was actually written by a staff writer at the time publication. I'll flip it around so you can see the publication itself from Time, and by staff writer Olivia B. Waxman, May 22nd, 2022 at 11 a.m. Central Time. The Time ran this article, and it is called The Overlooked Black History of Memorial's Day. So I'm going to read that story because I'm not certain if everybody is aware and know about this piece of history. So we're going to bring it to you in 1 second. So I already gave you the title. The photo that they show is dated as an April 1865 photo of the graves of Union soldiers buried at the race course turned Confederate prison, where historians believe the earliest Memorial Day ceremony took place. The Civil War photographs of 1861 through 1865. You can find this public information through the Library of Congress, the Prints and Photographs Division, if you're interested. And I'll flip that around to show it. Just give me, that's the photo. This is for informational purposes only. And I'm going to go ahead and start reading it. Let's see. Nowadays, Memorial's Day honors veterans of all wars. And see that word, nowadays. So that was even back in 2020. This staff writer and others were aware that nowadays how Memorial's Day is celebrated and narrated even. So nowadays Memorial's Day honors veterans of all wars, but its roots are in America's deadliest conflict, the Civil War. So the roots of why Memorial's Day became to be stem from the Civil War, right? Approximately 620,000 soldiers died, and about 2/3 from disease, right? So keep that number in your head. All right. The work of honoring the dead began right away all over the country, and several American towns claim to be the birthplace of Memorial Day. Researchers have traced the earliest annual commemoration to women who laid flowers on soldiers' graves in the Civil War hospital town of Columbus, Mississippi in April 1866. But historians like Pulitzer Prize winner David Blight, y'all look this all up if you like, but it says, like Pulitzer Prize, that title Pulitzer Prize gives him, I guess, credibility over others. It seems to be that way. But let's continue. David Blight have tried to raise awareness of freed slaves who decorated soldiers' graves a year earlier to make sure their story gets told too. Okay? According to Blight's 2001 book, Race and Reunion, The Civil War in American Memory, a commemoration organized by freed slaves and some white missionaries, took place on May 1st, 1865 in Charleston, South Carolina, at a former planters racetrack where Confederates held captured Union soldiers during the last year of the war. At least 257 prisoners died, many of disease, and were buried in unmarked graves, so black residents of Charleston decided to give them a proper burial. And they had a movie, if anybody recall the name of that movie, or if I recall it, I'll let y'all know. But I remember a movie that kind of had that storyline included in it. All right. So they go on to show the picture of the clubhouse at the race course where the Union soldiers were held prisoner. These are the Civil War photographs from 1861 through 1865 at the Library of Congress Prints and Photographs Division. Again, and I'll just turn it around and show y'all. Okay. Look like a small facility. And just think, in today's facilities, how many black bodies that they holding in there. So this was where they would hold the Union soldiers prisoner, those prisoners of wars. That's a clubhouse at the race course where they were held prisoner up inside of here. Okay, so let me continue. In the approximately 10 days leading up to the event, roughly 24 African American Charlestonians reorganized the graves into rows and built a 10-foot tall white fence around them. An archway overhead spelled out "Martyrs of the Racecourse" in black letters. Okay. About 10,000 people, mostly black residents, participated in the May 1st tribute, according to coverage back then in the Charleston Daily Courier and the New York Tribune. Starting at 9 a.m., about 3,000 black school children paraded around the racetrack holding roses and singing the Union song "John Brown's Body," and were followed by adults representing aid societies for freed black men and women. Black pastors delivered sermons and led attendees in prayer and in the singing of spirituals. And there were picnics. James Redpath, the white director of freedmen's education in the region, organized about 30 speeches by Union officers, missionaries, and black ministers. Participants sang patriotic songs like "America" and "We'll Rally Around the Flag" and the Star-Spangled Banner. In the afternoon, 3 white and black Union regiments marched around the graves and staged a drill. The New York Tribune described the tribute as a procession of friends and mourners as South Carolina and the United States never saw before. The grave sites looked like a one mass of flowers, and the breeze wafted the sweet perfumes from them, and tears of joy were shed. This tribute gave birth to an American tradition, Blight wrote in Race and Reunion. The war was over, and Memorial Day had been founded by African Americans in a ritual of remembrance and consecration. So y'all heard that Memorial Day, and you already understand that this title, African Americans, is made up. So the true people who established that, we know their lineage is not African American. Okay, so that's where they start taking out the real and the true history if you pay attention. But I'm gonna read on, and that's the purpose of reading this. So it's going to be a topic of my discussion because it's interesting, and I would like to explore and process, break it down even further, because I'm still trying to understand why we celebrate these traditions, and what's the purpose behind them in moving forward, and how does that align with you know our purpose in life, basically, and what we're teaching generations to follow. If we know better, we should definitely do better. And that's my purpose in reading this and spreading it on my platform, is because critical thinking and critical thinkers, sometimes they go a little bit too far and too deep. I want to deal with the essence of the issue that is at hand, that does need to change, which is following these man-made traditions of people to continue to create you into a consumer. And that's the bottom line. Okay, instead of being a owner in all facets of life, we are at that brick wall where it's a battle to scrap for change. All right, so, and that's literally and actually figuratively. All right, so that part was heavy right there, because the South Carolina